All right, welcome to today's recap. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group, and wow, what a reversal day! We're going to be going over a lot of charts that are going to show some pretty nice reversal bars and a lot of nice setups, and I think you're going to start to see that, from a lot of people. It is a little bit exciting, right? We really haven't had much confirmation. And, today looks a little bit different. We haven't really had a day where we've successfully closed on the highs and then had some follow through. First of all, we really haven't had too many days where we've closed on the highs the last couple weeks. We had one, we had two, and well, I guess yesterday was one of them. And then we had this crazy reversal bar today, and then one a couple weeks ago as well, and then we completely reversed the other way. So why does today feel a little bit different? Well, definitely, the days where you start the day lower. There was more news on the tape. It kind of felt like a sell the news. A lot of times what that's kind of how the market reacts. It's was basically a sell the rumor, which is a little bit different. Usually it's buy the rumor and sell the news, right? This time it was sell the market and sell equities on the rumor, and then once the news comes out of more trade tariffs, equities were bought on the dip, and I think we just needed that morning flush out day as well to kind of forget people, to be attracted into stocks and to kind of say enough is enough already. Some names are have gone down enough and are basically cheap enough to want to take shots in some sectors, right? There's been basically a buyer's strike. I think people wanted to see as well, what the damage was going to be in terms of tariffs, and then kind of can pick a little bit of a bottom. So, I don't think that, it's completely game over. I think that we'll continue to have, the VIX closed right around 20 today. So, a nice move, nice reversal bar in the VIX today, which we'll look at. But it's progress, right? It's taking steps in the right direction. So I'm going to go through the best performing sectors and all of the option activity today, which was good. I haven't had a day where I've needed 2 pages to kind of put down the call activity today, and that's what we got. So we're not below. We haven't really broken this trend line, which I would say is the 50-day moving average, this purple line in the VIX, but we're damn near close. And we're starting to see, the VIX try to go higher a few days and not able to get there. So I view that as a very positive sign. And same thing with the VXN. VXN has been higher than the VIX. It's a 26. Again, the VXN, if you're not familiar, is the VIX for the Qs. So which is very important, I think, to look at, not just looking at the S&P, but looking at other things. I think people get so focused in on the S&P or the Dow, they kind of forget to look at some other things. So that still needs to come in a little bit more, but again, nice red bar and a close on the lows. All right, so let's talk about a couple of really nice things this morning that were maybe lost in the shuffle this morning with all the with the amount of stocks that were down. But Lennar had some great earnings this morning, and we talked about this pre-market and said, hey, this is going to be an interesting test, right? Everybody's talking about, hey, can positive earnings, kind of bring us out of this market volatility that we've had. Lennar had great earnings, and I was wondering, I was like, how is the stock going to react? Is it going to go up on earnings? It sure did. It finished up 10%, and it took this group with it. So if you look at ITB, this is your best performing sector of the day. And look at this candle today. And again, you're going to see this in a lot of charts. You're going to see kind of a bullish engulfing candle where you take out 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, basically about 13, 14 days of activity, right? All it takes is one day sometimes, and you could really take out all the chop that we've had in the last 2 weeks in terms of the home builders, which have just been sitting there. I've been one of those who've been kind of wondering what the hell is going on with this group. Again, this is the home construction ETF, but there's about 65% of this ETF is home builders. But you could say the same thing for the XHB, which only contains about, I think, 25% actual pure home builders. One of the clues that we saw this last week was there's been a really big buyer of DHI, which is one of the bigger home builders. They've just come in left and right, and I've been tweeting this out every day for the last couple days that hey, they keep buying DHI into the weakness. And if you look at the 5 days, you can see I'm not making this up. Or you can look at my Twitter page and you can see that I'm not making that up either there. We'll see if trade alert not coming up here. Let's see. There we go. Sometimes it takes a little time, but 10,000. Those were bought on Monday. That added to open interest where it was 11,000. Then we saw another 48. That went up, going out plenty of time. And I talked about this, I believe, in last night's video. They're going out plenty of time. So, by chance, who knows if they were buying them because the Lennar was going to report good earnings? I don't know. But clearly, they weren't going out to just, the April calls. So they probably figured, hey, it's a cheap stock and it's probably due for a nice bounce at some point. So really nice move, and now above the 50-day moving average, and now you've got something to work with. You could trade this against 44.88 support, and same thing like a couple other names in this group performed pretty well. Like I think for a while a lot of people were wondering what the hell's going on with Home Depot. Home Depot finished up 2.1% today. Still, a nice bounce finally on the 200-day moving average. It has more work to do. So this group was very strong. Also, biotech. I talked about how I added a biotech trade yesterday. 200 into the 200-day moving average, kind of flirting around with that, and bam, a nice move back above here. So that trade worked out pretty well that I put on yesterday. This morning, I think for a lot of people it was, because I did add some trades. I added some risk yesterday, and I kind of came in this morning, shaking my head a little bit. Good to kind of to see the reversal, and that's all you can really do is take shots. Take trades where you think things are the appropriate risk to reward. So biotech was very strong. Also, retail was very strong. Just a lot of groups, and that was the other thing today. The other theme of the day was a lot of groups, just like I'm talking about the home builders. A lot of things that haven't participated in a long time. Caught a nice bid. Those were some of the first movers of the day. I mean, look at this Under Armour. If you take away this, don't look at the symbol. How does this chart look to you? A move above the 200-day moving average. You've got after a big decline, it's now back above the 200-day moving average. You've got an MACD crossover, bullish crossover here. Without looking at the symbol, which again saw a lot of call buying today, short-dated call buying, but I wanted to go long this. I did not. I just, I didn't want to add too many trades in today's strength because it's been difficult. It's been a difficult market to add a lot of risk into strength the last couple of weeks. So there'll be plenty of time. This thing just got over the 200-day moving average 2 days ago. Happy to kind of, buy that on the open tomorrow, and just kind of reset things. But this, a number of other trades, Brinker, the restaurant names were very strong today, the casual diners. Brinker, again, you kind of take away the symbol and just look at the chart. Whoops, wrong way. Big, heavy decline, for a long time, and it's above the 200-day moving average. Now, it's done this a couple times, but you've got an actionable level to trade against, which is the 200-day moving average, or you could use the top of the value area if you want a quicker stop. But look, you got an MACD crossover, so that's something that we haven't really seen in a lot of stocks, which we're starting to see now, is that MACD bullish crossover, which is great for swing trading. Just to look at a few names in tech. So again, a lot of names that really haven't participated. Either saw call buying today or just really launched higher. Finally these things got a bit oversold where and you'll see that from time to time when names just get so oversold. Trying to predict the exact day that it happens is very, very difficult to do, almost impossible, but you kind of have to be in it to win it a little bit in some of these trades. Apple. So this is just another example where, like I said, I think you're going to see a lot of people sending out charts tonight, a lot of technicians, because there's finally like confirmation a bit. And I talked about confirmation pre-market, but basically what you're looking for is either for a name to go to start the day lower and just either close on the highs, take out a few a few previous candles, which one, two, three, four, four candles we took out today, bullish engulfing. We're not haven't seen an MACD crossover yet, so you could wait for that confirmation. But you got a lot of things going on here: a bounce on the 200-day moving average, a move into value. It actually took out the 50 and the 20-day moving average. So that is confirmation to me. And you could see this, and I'll go through a couple other charts that really look pretty good to me. Look at Salesforce. Salesforce back in the value area. Again, where's your support? You could use right here basically 118.20, or use the 50-day moving average if you want a little bit more tolerance. But again, taking out several days and into the value area and recouping not only the 50-day moving average but the 20-day moving average as well, and the 5, right? So reclaiming all the short-term moving averages. So really nice. Other sectors that performed pretty well, one of my favorite ETFs, IGV, the software ETF, also had a really nice day today, back inside value as well. Not as nice as that Salesforce, but maybe one more day and I'll take it over. All right, so let's go over a couple of the. So what did I do today? I'll talk about some of the trades I did. I played IWM right from the first 5-minute bar of the day. I just thought that small caps would do better today because they have less exposure for trade tariffs. Most of their sales are inside the borders of the U.S. I played IWM today for a couple scalps, and that's the other thing for strategy. If you're okay with scalping right now, the market is moving very fast on a day-to-day basis. You could definitely put your day trading hat on and just trade the indexes, instead of looking for a single name exposure until the VIX kind of continues to quiet down. Plenty of opportunity to make money just by trading, without being too picky and looking at individual names. IWM, Qs, SPY, diamonds. These are moving very fast and a lot faster. I was saying this again. I'm sorry, I'm repeating some of the things that I said today, but I get so many emails from different people like sending out advertisements. Months ago when there was no volatility whatsoever, I got all these emails about trading futures and trading index options. Now I don't even get them. And that was the wrong time to be that you have to go where the opportunity is, right? In trading. So all the way back here when people are sending emails about trading futures, like this is not where you want to be trading futures. These little tight ranges. You want to be trading futures when you have this stuff going on. So, again, that's where the opportunity is right now. And again, you don't even have to be holding much risk at the end of the day if you kind of choose to play that type of strategy. A couple names that I thought might rebound today. There was a name, I forget what it was. I think it was CLDR that sold off pretty hard. There was a lot of dip buying in the space. HDP, also Splunk saw some call buying as well, dip buying. With this name, I think it was CLDR that really sold off pretty hard. Yeah, it was down 40%, but it's just one company. I don't think it's a proxy for the whole group. Splunk recovered nicely. HDP also got hit pretty hard, so there's some dip buying going into these into that space. A few other names. Again, I could spend probably a good half hour going over, and I don't even have all of today's option activity. It's just too many names. You can't trade all these names, obviously, right? XHB I already mentioned those. That did see a little bit of call buying. We did see some energy call buying before the Department of Energy numbers, which showed a drawdown in crude today. We saw some XOP calls. We saw some Conoco Phillips calls. I played that name today. It was a small winner. Nothing to really jump up and down about. What else? There was another energy name too. PXD. We also saw some call buying in that. We also saw some call buying in IBM today. Haven't really seen too much activity in this one lately. I mean, look at that candle today. Same thing, I think, with Microsoft. Again, taking out multiple days of price action. So, like I said, you're going to see this in a lot of different places. Kansas City Southern, we saw some calls. Haven't seen a lot of calls in this in the rel names very not in the last couple months really in terms of the rail names, in terms of a lot of the transportation names. But this had a nice move today. We'll see if it gets out of range. It's kind of, again, a lot of chop in this name. A lot of volume. It's 7,000 at the end of the day traded. It was mostly a couple thousand lots that went up. So maybe a little bit of day trading added to that volume today as well. TS, a steel name, also saw some call buying. I'm just going to take one of these out. I want to talk about this Fez trade that hit. Baba saw two-way flow today. I feel like I'm missing some of the names. Western Union, if I didn't mention that name, kind of odd, right? But some of these names, like I said, had some big ranges to them. Western Union, send the money fast. I think that was their slogan. Big move up for that name, up 2%, but not big as some of the other names. So maybe somebody's expecting this name to really rally. I don't know. Already mentioned Under Armour, SYF saw some calls. Interesting, by the way, I do like to talk about some of the put activity too. There are some big put buyers in Visa and MasterCard. One of the Tribeca Trade Group members today mentioned that AXP has a court case that might be coming due, so I don't know if they're buying puts. They're not going out very far. They're going to May, but two big chunky orders in the credit card companies today, so who knows? Maybe maybe somebody's hedging or speculating to the downside, maybe for that particular case. I'm not sure. Yeah, so Fez, take a look at this block that went up. This is the Euro Stocks ETF. Again, just good to see that they're buying some different things. 16,000 of the May 41 calls went up in FEZ. This is the Euro Stocks ETF, which has seen no buying. In fact, just big unwinding. Big unwinding of ETFs. I think a couple $1 billion have been taken out of European ETFs over the last month. Really a big unwind. So finally, a buyer comes into this space. I like this trade. It's been really beaten up. May 41 calls for 50 cents. I think that's a pretty good flyer to take, for a 50-cent call option, in case this, beaten up area actually rallies a little bit. So I think that's it. I think that's it for today's recap. We'll see if we get that follow through. Again, a lot of confirmation today. Good things. Like I said, here's what I traded today. I'm happy to show you the blotter. I know a lot of people don't show what they trade. I do it. I traded like I said, I traded IWM. I think a couple times today. I also traded the Qs today. Back and forth, a couple profitable trades. ALB, we saw. I put on a really small play in ALB. I just wanted to participate. They bought, some calls into this name on a 52-week low, I believe. I was in a little bit of EAT, and I made just a tiny bit of money in that one. Really, the index trades were the best. I did put on an ITB trade, around 1050. I think when ITB was up 2% today, and ITB finished up 4.6% on the day, so pretty good. And you could see my trades from yesterday, some limited risk reversals. Again, I explained that yesterday. I put a bunch of those on yesterday. So, all right, so that is it for today's recap. That's a lot to talk about, longer than I usually talk for, but a lot to go over. Thanks for watching and have a great night.